Are you tired of feeling discouraged by failure? Do you believe that success is only reserved for the lucky few? In this video, we explore the profound wisdom of Stoicism and uncover why failing big is actually a crucial step towards ultimate success. Lesson 1. Understand that failure is inevitable. Failure is an unavoidable part of life. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or anticipate the future, there will always be moments when things don't go as expected. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is that we must not only acknowledge this reality but embrace it. The Stoics understood that failure is an essential component of personal growth, progress, and eventual success. To succeed, we must first accept that failure is not just possible, it's inevitable. To many people, the idea that failure is inevitable might seem frightening. We often equate failure with loss, disappointment, or even shame. However, the Stoic philosophy encourages us to shift our perspective. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors of Rome, frequently reminded himself that setbacks were to be expected. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Failure does not define you. How you respond to failure does. When you acknowledge that failure is inevitable, you free yourself from the fear of it. The fear of failure is often far worse than failure itself. People tend to hold back from pursuing their dreams or taking risks because they are terrified of failing. But when you accept that failure is a normal and expected part of any journey, that fear loses its power. Understanding that failure is inevitable allows us to be more compassionate toward ourselves. We live in a society that often glorifies success and shuns failure, creating unrealistic expectations that lead to stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. We are taught that failure is a reflection of our incompetence or lack of talent. However, the Stoics encourage us to challenge this notion. Failure doesn't mean you're inadequate or unworthy. It simply means that you're human and that you're pushing yourself beyond your current limits. It's important to remember that growth does not happen in comfort zones. To grow, you must stretch yourself, take risks, and step into new territory. This means that failure is not only inevitable, but it's also necessary for growth. In fact, if you are not experiencing failure, it might be a sign that you are not challenging yourself enough. To stagnate in a comfort zone where everything is safe and predictable is to avoid the growth and learning that comes from failure. The Stoics also emphasize the impermanence of all things, including failure. Failure may feel monumental in the moment, but Stoicism reminds us that everything is temporary. Remember that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. In other words, failure is only as powerful as the meaning we give it. When we understand that failure is a fleeting event and not a permanent state, we can move past it more quickly. Each failure is just one moment in time, a single step in a much longer journey. When you accept that failure is inevitable, you also learn to anticipate it. This anticipation allows you to prepare mentally and emotionally for setbacks, so that when they happen, you are not blindsided. The Stoics believed in preparing for adversity as a way to build inner strength and resilience. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By mentally preparing for failure, we reduce the impact it has on us when it inevitably occurs. This doesn't mean you expect failure in a negative sense, but rather you recognize it as a natural part of life's unfolding. Failure is not something to be avoided or feared. It is an integral part of the journey to success. By understanding that failure is inevitable, you release yourself from the fear of it. You learn to embrace failure as a natural and necessary part of life. With each failure, you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You gain the experience and perspective needed to achieve your goals. Through the lens of Stoicism, failure becomes a teacher, a motivator, and a guide. It is through failure that we learn the most valuable lessons, and it is through failure that we ultimately find success. Lesson 2. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Failure can often feel like the end of the world when you're in the midst of it. The emotional weight, the frustration, and the disappointment can make it seem like you've hit an insurmountable wall. But one of the central teachings of Stoicism is the belief that failure is not the end, but rather a beginning, a necessary part of our development as individuals and as professionals. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This simple yet powerful truth teaches us that it's not the failure itself that defines us, but how we respond to it. When you begin to see failure as an opportunity for growth, you unlock its true value. Embracing failure means reframing your perspective, shifting from a fixed mindset that sees mistakes as a reflection of your worth, to a growth mindset that views setbacks as a stepping stone for improvement. Stoicism encourages us to adopt this growth mindset, to understand that every failure holds within it a valuable lesson, a chance to gain wisdom that will help us in our future endeavors. Experience is one of life's greatest teachers, and failure is often its most effective classroom. While success might give us a sense of accomplishment, failure provides a depth of understanding that success cannot. When we fail, we are forced to examine what went wrong, to reflect on our actions, and to dig deeper into the root causes of the failure. This process is often uncomfortable, but it is also profoundly valuable. Failure strips away illusions and forces us to confront the truth, which is essential for growth. A key part of embracing failure is changing the way we think about it. Too often, we associate failure with shame, embarrassment, or inadequacy. We fear it because we've been conditioned to believe that success is the only outcome worth celebrating. But Stoicism teaches us that failure is not something to be feared or avoided. Instead, it is something to be accepted, even welcomed, as part of the natural order of life. Reflection allows us to turn our failures into meaningful learning experiences. It helps us identify the patterns that may be holding us back and gives us the insights we need to make better choices in the future. Instead of simply moving past failure, reflection encourages us to sit with it, to explore it deeply, and to extract valuable lessons from it. It's important to remember that reflection is not the same as rumination. Rumination involves dwelling on our mistakes and feeling stuck in them, which can lead to negative emotions like regret or self-doubt. Reflection, on the other hand, is a constructive process. It's about understanding the past so that we can apply those lessons to our future actions. In this way, failure becomes a tool for self-improvement, not a source of shame or guilt. Another reason why Stoicism encourages us to embrace failure is that it builds resilience. Each time we fail and get back up, we become stronger. Failure forces us to confront our limitations, but it also teaches us that those limitations can be overcome. By facing failure head-on, we develop the mental toughness and emotional fortitude needed to persevere through future challenges. Failure teaches us that we are capable of more than we think. Each time we rise after falling, we prove to ourselves that we have the strength to keep going. This resilience is crucial for long-term success because, as the Stoics remind us, life will always present us with challenges. The key to thriving is not in avoiding these challenges, but in learning how to overcome them. Embracing failure has long-term benefits that go beyond just learning from mistakes. When we learn to see failure as an integral part of the path to success, we start to take more calculated risks. We stop holding ourselves back out of fear of failure and instead embrace opportunities for growth, even if they come with the risk of setbacks. This openness to failure leads to more innovation, creativity, and progress. When we learn to embrace failure, we become more compassionate toward ourselves and others. We recognize that failure is a universal experience, something that everyone goes through. This understanding allows us to treat ourselves with kindness when we fall short, and it also helps us to support others who are facing their own challenges. Failure is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced. It is through failure that we learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. The Stoics understood this, and their teachings remind us that failure is not a roadblock on the path to success. It is the path itself. When we embrace failure as a learning opportunity, we unlock its full potential and set ourselves on the path to achieving our greatest goals. Lesson 4. Build a growth mindset. A fundamental principle of Stoicism is the belief that we are responsible for our own development. No one can grow for us, and no one can succeed for us. This is where the concept of a growth mindset comes into play. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. It contrasts with a fixed mindset, which believes that talent alone determines success. According to Stoic teachings, adopting a growth mindset is essential for turning failure into success. With a growth mindset, failure is not seen as a final verdict on your abilities. Instead, it's a sign that there's room to grow. Each failure becomes an opportunity to improve and get closer to your goals. This mindset allows you to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. When you adopt a growth mindset, you become more resilient, more adaptable, and more likely to succeed in the long run. Failure no longer feels like a dead end. It's simply a part of the journey. You learn to approach each setback with curiosity rather than fear. Stoicism teaches that self-improvement is a lifelong pursuit. There's no end to how much we can grow. By adopting a growth mindset, you align with the Stoic belief that you are in control of your personal development. No failure can stop you unless you let it. When you approach life with a growth mindset, you welcome failure as a valuable teacher, knowing that each setback brings you closer to your goals. Lesson 5. Strengthen your determination. One of the most important lessons from Stoicism is the value of perseverance. The Stoics believe that true strength lies in our ability to keep going in the face of adversity. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. This is where failure plays a crucial role in building determination. When you fail, you have a choice. You can give up, or you can keep going. The Stoics would argue that it's the act of continuing in the face of failure that truly builds character. Every time you fail and choose to keep going, you strengthen your resolve. You develop the mental toughness needed to succeed, no matter how many setbacks you face. Success often requires long-term perseverance, and failure tests your ability to stay committed. When you fail big, it's easy to feel discouraged. But it's during these moments that your determination is forged. Each failure is a test of how much you truly want to succeed. If you can pick yourself up after a big failure and keep moving forward, you demonstrate the kind of determination that is essential for achieving your goals. In Stoic philosophy, this kind of perseverance is known as fortitude, the strength to endure hardships and remain steadfast. The Stoics believed that fortitude was one of the most important virtues. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, but it's your determination to overcome them that defines your success. By facing failure with determination, you prove to yourself that you have what it takes to succeed. You develop the resilience and grit needed to tackle even bigger challenges in the future. The more you strengthen your determination, the more prepared you are to face whatever obstacles come your way. Lesson 6. Prepare for greater success. One of the hidden benefits of failure is that it prepares you for greater success in the future. Each failure teaches you important lessons, refines your skills, and builds your resilience. When you finally achieve success, you are far more prepared to handle it because of the failures you've experienced along the way. Stoicism teaches us to value the process over the outcome. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, but instead want them to happen the way they do. This means focusing on the actions you take, not just the results. Each failure is part of that process, preparing you for the moment when success finally arrives. When you fail, you are building the foundation for future success. Each failure adds to your understanding, your skills, and your resilience. By the time you achieve your goal, you are far more equipped to handle the challenges that come with success. You've been tested, and you've proven that you have what it takes to persevere. Success that comes too easily can be fragile. It can lead to complacency or a false sense of security. But when success comes after a series of failures, it is much stronger. You've earned it, and you know how to maintain it. Failure prepares you for the realities of success, teaching you to stay humble, stay focused, and continue to grow. Failure is not just a stepping stone to success. It's a necessary part of the process that prepares you for the challenges and rewards of achieving your goals. By failing big, you are setting yourself up for even greater success in the future. Lesson 7. Develop resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from failure, and it is one of the most important traits you can develop on the path to success. Stoicism teaches us that resilience is not just about enduring hardship, but about thriving in the face of it. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Resilience comes from recognizing that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Failure is inevitable, but resilience is what allows you to rise after each fall. The Stoics believed that resilience was not just a matter of toughness, but of wisdom. When you fail, you learn. You gain new insights, new skills, and new strength. Each failure makes you more resilient, better prepared for future challenges. Resilience is built by facing failure head-on and refusing to give up. It's about seeing failure not as the end, but as a necessary part of the journey. When you develop resilience, you become unstoppable. No matter how many times you fail, you have the inner strength to keep going. Stoicism teaches that true success is not measured by how many times you succeed, but by how well you handle failure. The more resilient you become, the more prepared you are for the ups and downs of life. Failure becomes just another challenge to overcome, rather than a roadblock to your goals. Resilience is the key to turning failure into success. It's what allows you to keep moving forward, no matter how many times you fall. When you develop resilience, you unlock the true power of failure and set yourself on the path to lasting success. Failure is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. Stoicism teaches us that failure is an inevitable and essential part of the journey toward success. By accepting failure, learning from it, and using it to grow, we build the resilience, strength, and wisdom needed to achieve our goals. Each failure brings us closer to success, as long as we have the determination and mindset to keep moving forward.